An RV-10 crashes into a building rooftop with a massive fireball while trying to make an emergency landing. This and more aviation news on Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we start off 2025 on another sad note. 2 days ago, an RV-10 crashed into a building in Fullerton, California, leaving both occupants, the pilot and his 16-year-old daughter, dead and 19 others injured after the plane exploded on contact with the roof of the furniture warehouse. The warehouse was less than 1,000 feet from the runway that the pilot was trying to make, and this one really hits. I have a daughter and just can't imagine the pain the family is feeling right now. We'll take a look at what we do know at this time, and we'll also take a look at the video and the audio and see how it compares to another recent crash that happened in front of the same camera. And finally, our last story will be about how the 70s hit group, the Osmonds, have something to do with aviation. But first, the crash 2 days ago on January 2nd, 2025. A van's RV suffered some sort of an emergency, and he tried to make it back to the runway, but crashed into the roof of a warehouse only 1,000 feet short, and it caused a huge fireball. Before we get to the details of that, let's talk about the aircraft. The RV-10 is a popular four-seat, single-engine, low-wing aircraft known for its versatility and performance. This particular RV-10 was built in 2011 and is designed by Vans Aircraft, and it combines sleek aerodynamics with powerful performance, making a favorite among aviation enthusiasts and private pilots. Vans is the leader in the home-built aircraft industry, and it has a cruising speed of up to 200 miles an hour and a range of over 1,000 miles. The RV-10 is perfect for the cross-country flights and weekend getaways. Its spacious cabin offers comfort for the pilots and the passengers, while its customizable design allows builders to add their own personal touches. And some people will build their own RV, while others will purchase already assembled aircraft. The RV-10 is typically powered by the Lycoming IO540, a six-cylinder, horizontally opposed air-cooled engine. The IO540 produces around 260 horsepower, providing the RV-10 with an impressive performance for takeoff, climb, and cruising. And this engine is fuel-injected, it's not carbureted. Many builders opt for this engine due to its compatibility with the RV-10's design, but some people might explore alternative engines or modifications to suit specific preferences or requirements. We don't know which engine was specifically on this aircraft that crashed, but the IO540 is the one normally found in the RV-10. For fuel, the RV-10 has tanks in the wings carrying 60 gallons total when filled to the top, 30 gallons on each side. Now to the accident. November 8th, 757 Romeo took off from Fullerton Municipal Airport at 2:07 p.m. in the afternoon. Moments later, the pilot, who built the aircraft and is the registered owner, announced he was going to return to the airport for an emergency landing. The air traffic controller on duty gave permission for the pilot to land, and then just 2 minutes later at 2:09 p.m., the pilot and his passenger crashed into a warehouse in a nose down and right wing down attitude. The fireball was unusually large, and we don't know if the tanks were full, but the plane had just taken off. Because of events that happened on New Year's Day in New Orleans and Las Vegas, I've had a couple of people ask me after seeing the video of the fireball, wondering if this was possibly linked to a terrorist event. And with the evidence I see, I believe that's highly unlikely. 55 gallons of avgas, gasoline, can make an explosion that is that big. But with the nation's heightened attention, I have no doubt that this has been checked out. The warehouse, a furniture manufacturing company, was operated with dozens of people inside, and after impact, the plane was almost completely destroyed and a fire ensued. According to the local fire department, 19 people were injured. 8 were treated on site and released, while 11 were transported to a local hospital, some in serious condition. Let's listen to the audio recorded by air traffic control.
RV-57 Romeo left downwind approved, wind 2003, and 247 takeoff. That's 2 trade frequency change.
Fullerton Tower, RV-875, Romeo, immediate landing required.
RV-875 Romeo, Fullerton, can you make a left turn?
I'm coming into runway 6, 57 Romeo.
57 Romeo, traffic just rotated. Continue for runway 6. So 643, make a right turn. Traffic ahead, your left on runway 6, emergency. Start a right turn, thank you.
That traffic 59.
357 Romeo, traffic's no factor. Your number 1, wind calm, runway 6, clear to land, or runway 24. Runway 6 or 24, clear to land.
Yes, going for runway 26, going for runway 24, sorry, 57 Romeo.
All right, 57 Romeo, your choice. 6 or 24, either one, clear to land.
Thank you, runway 24 for 57 Romeo.
That's 643, thanks, sliding 060 for the moment.
Oh my God.
RV-16 Kilo, I've had an incident. Nothing's going to move till we rectify this or work on it. Thank you for your patience.
Again, having a daughter and being a pilot, this was chilling to listen to. I pray that the family can be comforted right now because this is horrible. As of right now, the NTSB, who is investigating this accident, has not released any preliminary information about what they believe brought down this aircraft. Based on the altitude, the speed, and the attitude of the plane when it made impact with the ground, it could be a number of potential factors. The investigators will be looking at the engine, the flight controls to see if this accident was a loss of power or some other issue with controlling the aircraft. They'll be looking to see if the engine was providing thrust or partial thrust or none at all. They'll look at images and witness statements to see if the plane stalled, that it got too slow with the emergency and just fell out of the sky. The pilot will also be looked at by the FAA and the NTSB. If the pilot is the owner of this aircraft, according to the FAA, he held a private pilot certificate and received his certification in 2012. The most recent medical was in November of 2015, but he was currently flying under basic med. According to his LinkedIn profile, the pilot referred to himself as an experimental aircraft builder with over 1,000 hours as a test pilot and FAA repairman certification. Previously, he spent 8 years as a U.S. Army aviation veteran, having flown the UH-1H, a member of the Huey family, from 1988 to 1996. According to his profile, he claimed to work with aircraft builders to complete and fly their experimental aircraft. He also worked for Sling Aircraft as an aircraft engineer from January 2021 to July of 2021. This accident follows just a few months after another traumatic accident where a Mooney M20 crash-landed a few blocks to the east of the Fullerton airport. The dramatic video from the same camera went viral as the aircraft landed on a road, hit a pole, struck a fire hydrant, and then the tree. Both the pilot and the passenger on board were pulled from the wreckage, receiving minor injuries. The pilot of that plane stated that they departed Brackett Field in Laverne, California, intending to perform instrument training, and the flight to Fullerton Municipal Airport was uneventful. After completing a full stop landing at the airport, they taxied back to runway 24 for departure, and shortly after takeoff, while executing a left turn to exit the airport traffic pattern, the engine began running rough. The pilot attempted to return to the airport, but during the base leg to runway 24, the engine completely lost power.
Fullerton Tower, Mayday, making emergency landing next to the train.
For Charlie Victor, just maintain your altitude and go around. We got an aircraft incident.
And unable to reach the runway, the pilot initiated a forced landing on a road approximately 1,000 feet from the end of the runway. And you can see in the surveillance camera footage, same camera that caught the January 2nd tragic crash, the Mooney came down, struck a light pole, then the fire hydrant, and then the tree. And I believe had they not had the fire hydrant there, they would have hit the tree nose on, and the results might have been sadly different. But as it was, the two were rescued by first responders, and fortunately, both survived. Now, here's the same camera, January 2nd, 2025. We don't know what happened here with the RV-10, but watching the video, my takeaway that helps me be a better pilot is to remember to fly the plane all the way to the crash site, like the Mooney. Again, we don't know what happened, but watching this serves as a reminder to me to not stall the airplane. If I fall out of the sky, my chances are practically zero. But if I glide all the way, I've got a fighting chance. In an emergency, there's no time to really consider all the factors that would make a good decision. It's much more advantageous to make all the decisions back on the ground. So I have a procedure before I take off. I call it the pre-takeoff safety briefing. There are 3 things that I cover. First, what do I do if my engine fails while on the runway? And what's my point on the runway where I abort or reject the takeoff? Secondly, once airborne, where am I going to put it down? The answer is straight ahead, 15 degrees off either side. But let's choose now, when I'm sitting on the ground, where that will be based on the conditions and the location at the airport. Third, based on the current weather conditions and my plane's performance, what is the altitude that I could make a successful turn back to the airport? Anything short of that, I'm landing straight ahead. And I call this the red zone. I do this 3-point pre-takeoff safety briefing every time out loud, even when I'm alone in the aircraft. Again, I feel for this family and cannot imagine the devastation they're going through in this new year. Our last story today is about Wayne Osmond. Wayne Osmond, if you're not aware, and apparently a lot of you guys aren't aware, was a member of the Osmonds, the million-selling family act. The Osmonds were popular during the 1970s with several hits, including One Bad Apple and Down by the River. Wayne, turns out, was also a very well-accomplished pilot. He held a commercial pilot certificate with ratings in both single and multi-engine. Wayne also held an instrument rating and was also a helicopter pilot, something near and dear to my heart right now. Wayne passed away this week after suffering a massive stroke, and Meryl Osmond wrote on their Facebook, "I've never known a man that had more humility, a man with absolutely no guile, an individual that was quick to forgive and had the ability to show unconditional love to everyone he ever met." Recently, Christy and I did a podcast on celebrities that happen to be pilots. I didn't know that the oldest Osmond brother was such an accomplished pilot. Well, Wayne, tailwinds and blue skies. That's the news for today. And if you can support our sponsors, please check them out in the description below. And I'd like to personally thank our sponsor, Marshall Protective Services, for being such a huge support to us. Nick and his team are amazing. I really appreciate you, Nick. And some more news that you might want to see. The medical report on the woman sucked into the engine was released. And I talked to an aviation doctor about what was in it that might cause a woman to allow herself to get ingested into a jet engine. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills. Take care.